Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Myrna Khan, Vice President, University Relations. I know it's a busy time, but it's also an exciting time. As we celebrate our 50th year, we have a renewed vision for the future of our institution. Over the next half hour, we'll hear perspectives on our new strategic vision and directions, Teaching Greatness. We hope these voices will provide a foundation for moving forward and implementing the vision in our everyday work. Before we begin this morning's program, I'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is in Treaty 6 territory. It is a traditional gathering place for many Indigenous people. We honor and respect the history, languages, ceremonies, and culture of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who call this territory home. The First Peoples' connection to the land teaches us about our inherent responsibility to protect and respect Mother Earth. With this acknowledgement, we honor the ancestors, the children who have been buried here, missing and murdered Indigenous women and men, and the process of ongoing collective healing for all human beings. We are reminded that we are all treaty people and of the responsibility we have to one another. With that, I'd like to introduce our first speakers, and we thought there was no better way to start talking about teaching greatness than having an example of one of the things that makes MacEwan truly great: the interaction between a great teacher and a great student. Dr. Mugo and Myles Dykes will speak to their experience at MacEwan and how the strategic vision reflects our strengths and the possibilities for our future. Dr. Mugo is a professor in the Department of Physical Sciences. He has developed NSERC-funded interdisciplinary research that engages MacEwan undergraduate students. From 2018 to 2020, Dr. Mugo served as one of MacEwan's inaugural Board of Governors Research Chairs. He's also a past recipient of a MacEwan Distinguished Teaching Award in 2020. Myles is the president of the Students Association of MacEwan University, or SAMU, and a student member of the Board of Governors. In addition to pursuing his Bachelor of Arts degree with a double major in political science and economics, Myles spent the last year representing MacEwan students as one of two student members on the Board of Governors. From 2019 to 2020, Myles served as a student's counselor and was awarded the Council of the Year 2 years in a row for his work. Welcome, Dr. Mugo and Myles.
So, Myles, beside being SAMU president, you are also a student in MacEwan, and you're not here for lack of options. There are many universities in the city. There are many universities in the province and beyond. So why MacEwan?
Well, first of all, Sam, I want to say that it's really great to be here with you today. Like Myrna said, I think it's really phenomenal to have these kinds of conversations between students and faculty, and it's part of the reasons why, or one of the many reasons why I love MacEwan, I should say. When I was first looking at where to go for post-secondaries, I was really stuck between pursuing something more creative. I was looking at something like fashion design at Toronto, but and then the other side was political science or something more social in nature. At MacEwan, or actually U of A was where I was primarily thinking of. And this was the year after I had graduated. I wanted to take a leap year off to kind of see where I wanted to go and where life was going to take me. And, as it often happens, life had other plans for me. My dad had terminal cancer at the time and had been sick for quite a while. But the timeline for his disease had kind of sped up, and university has always been a really huge deal in my family. On my father's side, I'm actually the first person in my family to go to university, and on my mom's side, I think I'm only the second. So university is a huge deal in my family, and it looked like my father wouldn't be too much along much longer. So I made the decision that I wanted to go to university now to make him proud, to honor him, and and whatnot. And so it was April of 2018, and I was actually, unfortunately, really too late to apply to U of A, which was my first choice. But then I saw that MacEwan had a late application deadline. So, that flexibility that we so often talk about was built in right there. So I was able to apply and get into school, and I had a really great first semester, and I got so involved with the community, and I found that MacEwan was the place I was meant to be. And, unfortunately, my father passed when I was in the second semester of my first term. my first year, I should say, and you know, it was a very difficult time for me, you know, making the big decision to go into university and being involved with the community and responsibilities that I'd taken on because of that, you know. And, you know, like every child, I just wanted to make my dad proud. And I was really glad to be able to do so, but also find my place in my community. So that was really special for me. And, you know, the first year I got involved here at MacEwan, I just knew it was the place to be, like I said. I got involved with student groups, and I became a student group executive. That's also, my first year is when I joined Students' Council of the Board of the Students' Association. So there was just this plethora of opportunities everywhere. And I found that there were opportunities everywhere, and, you know, also experiencing the really difficult parts of my first year with my father passing. My professors were beyond flexible, so I'm just so incredibly happy that I could, you know, be a part of the community where the community also wants to meet me where I'm at. But that being said, you know, I've known that you've been a part of this community for a while now, since before our university days, and I was wondering maybe, you know, in the veins of I'm here at MacEwan for a reason, you've been here for a while now, what makes you stay here at MacEwan?
That's a good question, Myles. I've been in MacEwan for 14 years, and I've seen lots of changes and growth in this institution over the last 14 years. I've seen changes and growth in terms of student enrollment. I've seen growth in terms of our infrastructure development. I've seen growth in terms of our student-responsive academic programming. I've seen growth in terms of our scholarship and research output. I've seen changes even in our governance. I've even lived, you know, to see change in our name. But despite all these changes, MacEwan has remained very consistent. We've remained authentic. We've remained steadfastly focused on our core strength, which is, you know, creating opportunities for students and training undergraduate students well. And we do this through great teaching. I've seen all forms of innovative teaching when I've been in MacEwan, both by looking at my peers and also that I've been involved in. I've seen interdisciplinary type of teaching. I have seen personalized experiential learning type of teaching in different forms, such as work-integrated learning and internships and practicums made available to our students. I've seen community-engaged type of teaching. I've seen discovery-based teaching, you know, where students are involved in research and so on. And I've also seen internationalization, really, of these types of teaching, you know, where our students are involved in exchange programs as well. And I think all these constitute what we would call great teaching, that is setting trends and even breaking those trends. And so I would say, I think for MacEwan, teaching greatness is not a new concept. It is not even a slogan, but this is who we are. You know, this is our identity. Now, if I think about how we evaluate ourselves as MacEwan, how well are we doing? I've seen MacEwan evaluate itself, you know, based on the success of its students when they are here, you know, but also when they finish, you know, their degrees and they become MacEwan alumni, and they get to find their place in the community. I've seen my own students, you know, find their place in the community, working in different places, you know, as nurses, as, you know, research chemists, even as a quality control chemist, environmental chemist, even technology entrepreneurs, you know. So I've seen all these things, and yet they do not just leave. Yeah. They remain engaged to us and as partners. In fact, when I do these often, just next week, I'm going to invite some of our MacEwan alumni, my previous students, to come and engage my current students. And students always find these a very, you know, synergistic, inspiring, you know, kind of an engagement. And so for me as a teacher, you know, I feel I'm part of an ecosystem. I'm part of a living ecosystem. that is situated in this great city, at the heart of this great city. And an ecosystem, comprising of students like you who are engaged and in a transformational path to become a Q1 alumni. An ecosystem comprising of my peers, who collaborate with each other. An ecosystem comprising of university administrators, and support staff, that make it possible to facilitate what we do. And so being part of this living ecosystem, I think I feel very inspired, stimulated, and it's very satisfying, to be here.
Well, I really agree with everything you said. I think, I think it's clear that we've really found our community here, and I'm really grateful to be a part of this community. But that being said, I think there's so much work we can do to move our university forward. And to hear a little bit more about that, I think we can pass it over to Dr. Trimbee to talk a little bit more about that.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Mugo, and thank you, Myles. You two exemplify the double meaning of teaching greatness, and I agree with you, Dr. Mugo. It's not a slogan. It is obvious, Dr. Mugo, that you love teaching, that your research makes you a better teacher and benefits our community. And Myles, it is pretty obvious that you love community, you love learning, and will leave MacEwan with the durable skills needed to accomplish great things. I know your dad and your mom would be very proud of you. We're also very proud of you. Thank you for sharing how this new vision builds on MacEwan's strengths, and for setting us up to think about how this new vision will interact with the day-to-day activities of everyone on MacEwan, on our campus. I am so glad to be in the Triffle Theatre today. It is one of my favorite places. I've only been here for 2 years, largely through the pandemic, actually a year and a half, so I've actually been to some in-person activities here. It's a fabulous place to gather, to learn, to perform, to celebrate, and to create memories. One of my memories from this room is my installation ceremony in November 2020. And it was at that time that I posed a couple of questions that started us on our journey to reveal MacEwan's new vision and directions. At that time, I asked, how can we better support and prepare our students for the future? What are the most impactful things we can do to create a brighter future for our city and for our province? What must we protect as we change? And what do we want MacEwan to be in 2030? It seems fitting to be back in the Triffle Theatre to share my insights on teaching greatness. We're celebrating a birthday. I remember my 50th. I can't think of a better time to launch a new strategic vision. The vision was created by all of us together. It is very bold and aspirational, and dare I say, a lot of fun. Thank you for engaging in the creation of the vision and directions, for showing up at thought sessions, for asking questions, and for sharing your perspectives. The energy of these conversations resulted in an incredible consensus about who we are and who we want MacEwan to be in 2030. The General Faculties Council and the Board of Governors unanimously approved the new vision and directions last fall, the 5 strategic directions, and the underlying foundational values of our place in Ward O'Dayanan. I hope you've had an opportunity to look at the vision, and I hope you see yourself in it. Teaching greatness is already influencing the decisions that we are making at the Board of Governors, at General Faculties Council, at Executive Council, at Dean's Council, faculties and schools, and the decisions that individuals that are part of our community make every day. So now I'll share a little bit of context on each of the strategic directions. Teaching greatness, it's central to the strategic vision. We heard from the Academy and from external partners that our passion for teaching is what makes MacEwan unique. We are renewing our commitment to teaching greatness with rigor. We embrace a learning environment where faculty members are experts in their field, and they encourage students to love learning. Students experience their faculty members' passion for research and love of community and an interest in doing research that is relevant and impactful. Across every program, every discipline, our faculty are using the best pedagogy. We are defining what it means to be best in kind, and we know what kind of university we are. We are a premier undergraduate university and very, very proud of that. The second direction, smash the calendar. Naming this one was a lot of fun. It is about ensuring our university is ready to meet students where they are. The traditional calendar isn't going to work for today's day and age. When General Faculty's Council approved the strategic vision, it was one of the students who spoke very passionately about how important it was to smash the calendar, and she was reflecting on how difficult the last couple of years have been for many young people. MacEwan's strength is we offer a unique array of credentials: degrees, diplomas, certificates, micro-credentials. That's a key part of what makes our educational pathways unique. We have a huge opportunity to use that for greater impact if we shake off some of the old traditional views of calendaring and scheduling. I'm very proud that students at MacEwan can come, leave with a diploma, come back, finish a degree. And I'm very encouraged by the embedding of virtual learning into our classrooms over the past year. I think we will emerge from the pandemic with all sorts of ideas on how to use technology better, but we will do so in a way that doesn't take away from the importance of place and the importance of community at MacEwan University. And of course, we're looking for ways to help students go faster when they need to. For example, looking at ways to complete a 4-year degree in 3 years, as well as recognizing that students need, on occasion, to exit, and there are times when they need to slow it down. The third strategic direction, grand as a griffin, another fun one. Our economy is changing rapidly, and we want to ensure our graduates are ready and have that magical combination of the qualities of a griffin to meet the changing demands of the work world, of the world in general. MacEwan graduates are empathetic, curious, willing to take informed risks, and are leaders. We want to provide more opportunities for our students to hone those skills through experiential learning and work-integrated learning. All right, the fourth strategic direction is perpetual motion. We plan to grow, but we want to do so in a smart and selective way. Our city and our province need more MacEwan graduates. We know that MacEwan graduates stay in Alberta and contribute to our province and economy. We know that the demographics say that there is a bulge of post-secondary students coming our way out of high school, and we also know that the province's Alberta 2030 strategic plan sets out objectives for post-secondary sector to grow, the capacity to expand. We want to do our part, and this translates into enrollment growth of up to about 5% per year. Not steady every year. We anticipate a bit of an acceleration towards the end of this decade. We want to balance growth with viability over the long term. We want to pick our spot. We also know international students want to come to Canada, and we want to welcome more international students. We want to recruit and retain more Indigenous students. And again, this is very much a part of MacEwan's strength, a part of our DNA. The fifth strategic direction we call trendsetters and trendbreakers. Who doesn't want to be a trendsetter? It's about the role of research and scholarly activity, and this is where we intersect with community. We are a downtown university. We are in the mix. We know that our students benefit from participating in scholarly and research work. We know that makes them better at whatever it is they go do when they leave MacEwan. And we also know that it helps them understand how knowledge gets created and how faculty members improve their teaching by staying current in their fields and adding to the knowledge that belongs in their field. Finally, I want to touch on our place on Odayaman Way. The connection and sense of place is fundamental to everything we do at MacEwan. Being downtown gives us a unique perspective. The municipal ward we are in, referred to as Odayaman, means the heart through which the North Saskatchewan River runs. The way we do things is rooted in our place and is about honoring our place. Throughout the conversations about our strategic vision, we recognize it's not only what we do, but it's how we do it. Our behaviors matter, and we've considered how these behaviors will find way as we execute the 5 strategic directions. We are proud partners in reconciliation, committed to indigeneity and inclusive excellence. We will leverage our partnerships and make choices with sustainability and longevity in mind to serve our learners and our community well. As I mentioned earlier, teaching greatness is already influencing the decisions that we are making. I saw it the very day that GFC approved the new vision and directions. It influenced our thinking and discussion on the next agenda topic, which was how to recognize the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th, 2023. I saw it on Friday when our Ukrainian Resource and Development Center quickly put together a seminar to help all of us deal with grief, deal with emotions, think about what we could do individually and institutionally to help Ukraine, to share their knowledge and to share some trusted sources of information. I really felt a sense of community, and my hat's off. Again, that truly demonstrates what makes MacEwan specific, what makes MacEwan special. I see it in the new partnerships that we are building, the partnerships that we are expanding. For example, with Health Cities, I understand we're working on a partnership with the Edmonton International Airport, and there's millions of them that I could rattle off on. We understand the value of working with others. We can't do everything alone. I see it in faculty initiative to accelerate the modernization of curriculum, for example, the nursing curriculum. And I have to tell you, as a university president, when you hear from faculty, when faculty say things like, what can we do to better use our infrastructure in the evening and on the weekends and smash the calendar, that gives me phenomenal hope. Last week, I also learned that MacEwan has experienced an order of magnitude increase in external funding for research and scholarly work. I hope you will agree with me a month from now when you see the budget that we have put together for 22-23, that we are investing in the right priorities to keep up the momentum on teaching greatness. 2030 seems very far away, but you know what? It really isn't. And I see the next decade in 3 phases. We are still in the recovery phase. The next phase I would refer to as steady growth, and after that we are going to accelerate growth. We have ambitious plans to build a new School of Business building, and we will need that by the mid to second half of the decade for sure. We've put together a video that I believe carries the community spirit and energy for this vision, and I turn it over to you now to watch that video. Thanks very much.
So teaching greatness underpins our entire strategic vision. And we have great teachers, but it's not only that we're great teachers. We believe that we foster greatness in our students through our instruction.
Our students learn because our teachers bring an incredible passion for their subject area and an incredible caring and concern for our students. We care about what they learn while they're here, and we care about whether or not they've left with the skills they need to be successful in a very fast-paced, uncertain, and globally connected world.
Teaching greatness means that you aren't just a number, you're a name, you're a person. You have a relationship with your teachers.
In the mix is one of my favorite lines. He talks about being elbows deep with ideas, with students, working, mucking, making something happen. And that's with students, with community partners, with other faculty. Teaching greatness is really about being involved and making something better.
It produced in me a sense of responsibility to reciprocate. So the impact it's had on me has been profound. You know, my biggest mentor in my professional life was a graduate of MacEwan. And she taught me so much. And so here I am, you know, how many years after graduation? Almost 30 years. And I'm still connected to this place.
At MacEwan, it is a holistic student experience. From wellness through to the experience students have in the classroom and beyond it.
After the pandemic, I think we're going to have to talk a lot about flexibility, and I think that's been something that MacEwan's always been great with. However, now's the time to reinforce it truly. I think that people are thinking of taking classes in unconventional ways, and they're balancing maybe full-time work with also taking classes. Smash the calendar is thinking outside of the box, and moving away from what traditional scheduling looks like, and finding things that really accommodate the lives of our learners. As we're reskilling and upskilling the Albertan economy, we also need that flexibility built into our post-secondary system.
What we need is institutions that are integrated into the community. Thereby the students are integrated into the community. And that is what's going to drive us forward.
Being a Griffin means being a part of a family that's just bigger than myself. It means being a part of a community where everybody supports you. I've had countless professors reach out and congratulate me for when we won nationals, and it's just something that you don't get every day, you know.
I think it's important for universities to evolve because the world around us is evolving. The world is getting faster. When I get asked if our students are ready for the disruptions in the workforce caused by technology, I'm very quick to point out, where do you think those disruptions come from? So universities need to be in constant motion. They need to be in perpetual motion. Our goal is to grow in areas of strength for MacEwan, to grow in areas that our students want to learn things about, and to grow in areas where the world around us is looking for a particular type of talent.
MacEwan, being a place-based institution right in the heart of downtown, makes a difference because you're not pulling those students out of the community. They remain in the community. They're continuously engaged, and the training that they receive is integrated.
For me, that's what place means, is to find your own spot where you can grow, flourish, and do what you need to do to contribute to the world.
We've had an incredible past 50 years embedded in our community, but now we're thinking about the next 10 years with our new strategic vision, and also what the next 50 years look like. And I think that's what's really great about MacEwan, is this continuous movement towards progress.
A university is all about developing people who will not only function in the future, but who will lead the future. They will go out with the intention of shaping the future of this city, this province, and wherever they may go in the world. That is success in terms of teaching greatness.
We are Edmonton's downtown university. Our graduates have the skills to succeed in our economy. Our graduates are glue. They stick around. They make the world a better place. We are exactly the kind of institution that we need to deliver on the province's vision for post-secondary education in 2030. We have a very important role to play. We collaborate with other institutions. We're downtown, in the mix. We're doing everything right, to be honest with you, and we can only do better. Thank you to all who shared their perspectives for this video. Thank you, Dr. Monk, Dr. Tony Fields. Thank you, Myles. Thank you, Reg. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Cheryl. And thank you, Dr. Annette. I hope the video inspires conversation around what comes next for MacEwan. I look forward to working with all of you to implement this vision. You will have many opportunities to engage. There will be an opportunity in March to hear from our Provost and DPA, Dr. Craig Monk, on the conversations that he has been having with faculties and schools and other academic departments on how to make this new vision come alive. In May, we will host an in-person event. We'll bring back MacEwan Connects to share our perspectives on how we can collectively realize teaching greatness through our daily work. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. It's a great day on campus. I haven't seen so many people here since I arrived August 2020. Thank you.